Maybe I'll do this, then I'll go down and edit some videos.
Yep.
I'm going to be up late tonight, so.
We both have video stuff to do.
True. We got some videos to do.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's take a 30-second delay, so.
Uh-huh.
Yep, so it's been going okay. I'm feeling a little better. I've still got my UTI, but it's much more manageable, so. Good to see everybody. There we go. They're starting to see us now. Oh, hey, Chad's back.
Y'all love each other.
That's a pointed question.
I can answer that with no problem, yes.
Something like that.
I don't have a problem saying that.
Bonus live, that's right. Hey there, Kelly, and hey, Lynn. Hello, Emily. Laura, Verna. Good to see all you guys. Don't sound too excited. It's Chad! It's amazing! Is that what I'm supposed to say? No, not engaged yet.
We gotta go back to the whole hands blank.
They're rushing us. Yep, today's blue day. Mm-hmm. What did we all do today? I got to ride my bike today, which was very nice. I was very excited to get to go do that. It's been months since I've done that. And today I was in the shop all day, doing walk-ins and cleaning up leftover computers that have been dropped off throughout the week. There you go, April. Do you teach your kids the Bible also?
I said show my hand again. I'll keep it up there where everybody can see. Yes, I teach my kids the Bible.
Bakersfield, California. I know where that's at.
Oh, I know where that's at too. I covered from Bakersfield all the way to Richmond when we did all the training stuff for UPS.
What's been going on in the Mills household? Well, we're smack in the middle of summer for us, and so that becomes complete with kids oversleeping in and playing and getting wet constantly throughout the day. I hung up some misters on the trampoline. The trampoline, you guys may have heard that it got blown away during a windstorm. Mm-hmm. Went over the fence and kind of got all bent up and wrecked. And so I finally cut the ends off of all the supports and re-drilled new holes and got it up and working again. And then I hooked some misters up, some all around the outside, so they can jump in it while it's misty. So they're doing that a lot. So. Oh, they've got ideas for you to make videos.
They asked if I was allowed to yet.
I see.
I was born in California.
It has been a busy month. It really has. It seems like it's been 2 months now that you mention it.
2 months for what?
2 months worth of stuff. All the stuff we did this month is a lot.
Yeah, we've done a lot in the last month.
Fell outside UPS on Saturday. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That stinks. Is the pool up? It is, but we burned out the filter thing right away, and it's needing a new one. I've ordered one, but you know how hard it is to get pool stuff these days.
Yes, I'm going home on Wednesday. How's the bathroom?
Haven't touched it since the last time you guys saw. I barely have gone in there. I looked in there just to admire my work once or twice, but that's about it. So I still have I got to mount the sink next, and then call the plumbers and let them finish up. They had some minor stuff to finish up with the shower stuff. I don't have the faucet stuff. I don't know where they put it. They clearly have outfitted it for a certain kind of faucet. And I don't have the piece that goes to it.
The toilet? Or
shower.
Just the shower? Okay.
Shower. And the toilet needs to be put in also. But well, I'm glad, Angela. What did you have for dinner? April made hamburgers, right?
Hamburgers. I barbecued hamburgers, and then I made corn, and we did mandarin oranges, And then the kids wanted chips to go with it. And then we did root beer floats during Bible study.
Yep.
Yes, I'm going home on Wednesday.
Excuse me. Ugh.
If you like wearing dresses, great. If you like wearing pants, I don't have a problem either way. I prefer pants because I can get a lot more done. But that's me. I like shorts too, to stay cool. Sorry, somebody asked my opinion.
I saw that. Any chance a few Mills kids will travel back with you?
No, not this time. But several of them are already asking when is Dad bringing them to visit.
Sure.
They've all been wanting to see what my house looks like and stuff, so we've been looking at pictures.
7-day fast starts on Saturday. Any tips? Well, don't eat food. There you go. There's my giant
Tip of the day.
Tip. Jolly Ranchers, when you finally start eating again, Jolly Ranchers are a godsend. Keep you from getting too nauseous. IBC root beer. I haven't had IBC root beer in a long time. What kind of root beer did you get, A&W?
No, some off-brand. They didn't. That's all they had.
Yeah.
And then I got cream soda for Eden and I, and then we ended up having root beer anyway. So I told us, well, we've got extra vanilla, so we'll just do root beer floats and cream soda floats again on another night. They've already decided what I'm cooking for dinner on Friday.
Which is?
Breakfast for dinner.
Ah. No sugar afterwards. Oh, that sucks. You're going to be all nauseous when you finally do eat.
Yes, Angela, I was a military wife. I was an Army wife. A beard kit ad before your video. That's a new
There
one.
you go, see?
Huh.
Must be the right... I can see why. What do the older kids think about Tom?
My older kids haven't really met him. Matthew and Tom have talked a few times. Matthew is very laid back, and his only thing is he'd really like to meet him. Outside of that, Matthew's... If Mom's happy, then Matthew's happy. Autumn, I'm not sure when you're going to get a chance to meet her. With her activities and stuff like that, we're not really sure. That looks like we got several Navy wives there. Cool. We spent time over in Newport, Rhode Island, stationed there at the Naval War College. So I'm familiar with being around all you ladies that are in the Navy. Hey, if your husband's in the military, you're in the military. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Andrea got you the beard brush. I still got that, yep. It's a nice little brush. I recently saw some random ad on a Facebook thing for some curling iron. Not a curling, it's like a straightener. It's a beard thing you plug in, and it's like a straightener that has heat. And so I've been trying that. It works pretty good. But it just takes so long to get heated up. I haven't messed with it much.
Air Force. I was actually but on my profile for a while there, it said I was a Army daughter, Army wife, and an Army mom, and a Marine mom. So my first husband I was married to for 10 years. My late husband I was married to for just over 13 years. We were going on our 14th anniversary when he passed away.
I look a little sad. I'm not sad. I'm doing pretty good, actually. I'm a little tired, apparently. I keep yawning. Can't seem to stop yawning, but I've been a little down the last couple days, but I'm doing better today, so.
Cold?
Not really. I'm a little stuffy. I think there's been some stuffiness going around, but April best meal Tom cooks, so Tom doesn't cook a whole lot.
I don't know, I like the chicken Alfredo, and obviously the pizzas are great. They just need more veggies, that's all. My favorite would be the raspberry dessert, though. That
was accidentally good. Yeah,
Not accidental. I think it came out really good. Mm-hmm. Eden and I now both like that. Why down?
God,
Keep yawning.
why down? I don't know. I think, honestly, I think the whole grief thing is still very much in play. So I kind of think my suspicion had been that I've been doing so much. Is pretty much every day, all day is making dinner, doing laundries, and helping kids, and then working, and it's been so busy. And now I have April here, and she's helping a lot. She's doing a lot of stuff. And I keep thinking maybe that's it. And I have more time to be alone in my head, which is dangerous. But
More time to think. You just noticed we're matching colors.
oh, yep. Henry Weinhardt's root beer, it is the best. Absolutely,
Yes.
Brenda. It is the number one root beer in the whole world. My definite favorite. Love it. Shopping, oh, you'll have to wait and see. You'll have to wait and see. Making your magic bars tomorrow, Christmas in July. Awesome. What magic bars did I teach you guys to make? Did I have you make magic cookie bars? Magic cookie bars are so good. I could totally make some of those.
You're talking because you're hungry.
Yeah, I am hungry. How did your second husband pass?
Scott was a double transplant patient, and because he had no immune system, he got partly because of the medication, partly because of no immune system, he got melanoma. And the melanoma, once we found out about it, he was already in stage 3C. And within a week, they moved him to stage 4, and he was gone within 4 months.
Cancer sucks.
It does. All cancer sucks.
Of course, the grief is still in place, and you
Yeah.
will be. You can't lose a great love and just get over it.
No.
I know that's true, but it's been weird because I had been fine, and then all of a sudden lately I've been more down, especially in the mornings. But today I came out of it pretty good and doing good. I was really glad to get to ride my bike and get to be alone a little bit, and that was nice. And I always feel good when I have a whole office full of jobs to do. I used to have a bunch of loose ends, and I had to take apart a Kindle and replace the battery recently, and I hate doing that because they're so fragile. But it ended up being fine, and I had a bunch of loose end jobs that needed done, and I got them all done, which made me feel really good. And when I'm doing stuff that I feel like need to be done for a long time, it makes me feel better. But so I was pretty good today, really. That's true, Evelyn. I think you're right there.
And I missed what she said.
That I've been going nonstop and have an infection and run down
Yeah.
and stuff. Someone said, did I look like my profile picture?
Yes, definitely.
Tender study tonight was a lurker tonight. Well, we prayed for you, Cindy, if you heard that. Glad you liked it. Rice pudding and watching YouTube. I can never get into rice pudding. I love tapioca pudding, but I can never get into rice pudding. Stepdad has lung cancer, died 25 days from diagnosis, stage 4.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
We had no idea that Scott had it. It was just very sudden, kind of like your guys'
Andrea.
situation.
Yeah, we didn't find out what Andrea really had until after she died. It was so fast. Time I found out when I was having a good day, that's when I would just get sad. Maybe survivor's guilt or something, but that's what I found. Yeah, maybe. And I have April here, and so things have been really nice. But I think it's just because my guess is it's getting close to the 1 year. We just had I had our anniversary. It was the 24th of last month. We were on our vacation, but I had our wedding anniversary, so that made me down a little bit. And
You're looking serious tonight.
I think I'm a little tired, is all, and. But I'm not feeling that serious. I'm feeling okay. I've been down, but I'm not down right now, so I'll try to be more cheery and just like,
Don't fake it. Oh my gosh, I can totally tell when he's faking it.
Yeah, most people can't, though. I'm really good at faking it. Most of my laughs are fake.
I can tell.
What did Andrea die from? It was ended up being breast cancer.
Yes, I agree. Anniversaries hurt. We found birthdays hurt. Certain holidays hurt.
I'm thinking about the 1 year coming up. The 1 year anniversary is next month, the 19th. And the thought that I had that was making me kind of down a lot was the idea that, like 1 year ago today, me and Andrea were doing
Normal.
this, and then in about a week or so, it's going to be 1 year from today. I took Andrea to the doctor. Anyways, all those memories are sliding off the table.
Mm-hmm.
I will no longer be able to say 1 year ago from today, from right now, Andrea was alive. I mean, very soon it'll be. That's it.
A year ago, she was gone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I had that realization that my memories are just kind of sliding off of a cliff and disappearing, and that kind of got me.
I agree. God can carry him.
So glad April understands your grief and you understand hers. That's a strong bond.
It
It is
is.
very nice. Being with somebody else who's also a widow is it's the only way I can do it, probably, if we're being honest. Didn't know how long she had it. That's up for debate. I mean, she's had some issues, like for a long time. She had some gallstones 10 years ago, and I always wondered, was that related? But she didn't have a tumor or anything, and based on how fast it went, because I mean, like when we first took her to the hospital, the specialist, on like Monday, she's gonna be all right. It's definitely not life threatening. It's gonna be okay. We just got to do this and this. We'll figure out the best course of action. And her kidney functions fine. Her liver functions fine. Everything's good. And then by Friday, it says her kidneys are failing, her liver's failing, and I've never seen anything move this fast, and blah blah blah. So it was probably inflammatory breast cancer. You can even see on some of her previous videos that she had a swollen lymph nodes on one side, which apparently is a sign of that kind of cancer. But yeah, Andrea captured all those memories, so they aren't sliding off of a cliff, Tom.
She did.
It feels like it is. Like I have that moment in my head. A year ago today, like on our anniversary, a year ago from today, we were at the park, and it was amazing. You can watch it. We can have our anniversary, our wedding anniversary for last year is up there on the channel, and it was very special. I had some very searing memories. We came out of the mall and it had just rained and the sun was shining and it was wet on the bench. I remember wiping the bench off. Let's just sit here on this bench, this random bench in Rapid City for a while, and we just talked. And anyways, it was a very powerful moment. I remember she had her head laying on me, and I took a selfie and of her doing it. I was very, very overt of her, and she never saw me take the selfie. And so it's a really powerful picture. It's one of my favorite pictures of all time. And so anyways, that was a year ago. And so now it's no longer a year ago. And very soon, I'm going to say a year ago, she wasn't here. And that sucks.
We will keep Proverbs 31 in prayers. If you saw her husband's sick.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And I believe you said earlier that you guys were both widows when you guys met.
The Proverbs 31 lady?
Mm-hmm.
I see. She did have her gallbladder removed. That's actually how this all started. She was having some digestive issues, and we took her in, and they said, oh, it's her gallbladder. Her gallbladder's a problem. It needs to come out. It's infected. And so they had the surgery, took the gallbladder out, and that's when the guy who took it out, the surgeon, said that her liver looked weird, and they took a biopsy of her liver right then and there, and that's when things just started changing.
Mm.
You were so strong during that time for Andrea, but I wasn't. I was a wreck. I wished I had been stronger. I wish I had talked more. There's all kinds of wishes that I wished I had done, but oh well.
You guys were eating fried chicken?
I don't know about that. That wasn't probably. I'm not much of a fried chicken eater. Someone else met on eHarmony. Did you see that one?
Yep. 10 years.
Andrew died happy and knowing how much she was loved. She did. She did. Cross stitch was for you, April. I don't think did we open it yet? I don't think we've opened. We have a bunch of packages to open, so well, we can't do that now.
No, we'll do it.
Maybe we'll do it. Maybe tomorrow or something.
It is always hard to relive the memories. I'm listening to this and going, I'm glad you had those from a year ago, because my memories of a year ago with Scott were not good memories. It was very difficult what we were going through in those last months.
I can't imagine. Just that week, just me sitting in the waiting room when she was suffering was so terrible. I literally had to run away. And there's a couple lives you guys will see that I'm out in the waiting room talking, and it's not just because I didn't want to take you in there, I just couldn't be in there. So that was tough. I can't imagine doing it for 8 years like you did. I mean, I think about the difference in our stories all the time, and how much I regretted that I didn't get to talk more. And there's advantages, disadvantages to all. There, I had blonde hair there. Anyways, the idea that I don't even remember. I lost my train of thought. But
I agree. I think that it's important to talk about death with your spouses.
Yeah.
I think it makes a big difference.
I greatly regret that. That's the thing I was talking about. I regret not actually mentioning the fact. Well, by the time the guy came in and said that you're going to die, Andrea was pretty out of it. In fact, he told her that she was going to die, and then he left. And then she says, well, let's get going home or something. And I was like, you just said you're going to die. And she said, what? No, he didn't. And I had to bring him back in, and he had to tell her again. And so she was pretty out of it at that point. So, but I regret not talking about it more. For the first, 5 days, I was just sleeping in a hospital room with her, and we talked ourselves out. We got to the point where we talked about everything that could be talked about, and we just sat there and didn't talk for a long period of time. And I thought, man, I could have talked and said so many more things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Belle Russell.
I did the same thing about Patty just now. Thank you.
Maybe be able to feel so much warmth for Andrea and Tom. Absolutely. I mean, it has to be. I mean, I don't know about people who one person's a widow and one person isn't, but I imagine it would probably get sick. They would get sick of hearing about their spouse all the time. And even as it is now, I try not to talk about it too much. But you don't care.
Nope.
You don't
Doesn't
care at
bother
all.
me.
But still, I still feel bad. Like, you keep talking about some other woman, but that's just how it is. And
it's who made you who you are.
Yeah, and you
There's
who
nothing
you are.
wrong
So it's
with that.
It's nice to be able to have the fact that you're a widow too. I don't have to explain myself quite as much.
And that's a good question. Why does God allow bad things to happen? I don't think God allows it. It is sins in the world.
Yeah, this world has bad things in it, but the next world does not. And so we were just talking about that in Bible study, that I see this world as a test, and a test where everything's perfect isn't a test.
No.
So in light of eternity, these bad things happening.
God can't grow us if we don't go through trials.
Yeah.
He can't teach us the things that he wants us to learn, or he can't have us teach others the things. I can't tell you how many times when we'd be in the hospital and we would run into people who have never read a Bible or never prayed before. I mean, I think I told you the stories of Scott praying in his last days, and the nurse that came in to administer his medication stood there and just listened because she said she had never heard somebody pray out loud before. I mean, it's those moments that you realize that there's a reason for the suffering.
Yep. It's funny because I have the theology stuff packed in my brain, and so I tell you my canned answer about why there's evil in the world, why there's death, and why there's pain, and that's what God wants, and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to my own life and actually thinking about the fact that Andrea died, I don't follow any of those rules. I don't practice what I preach. It's difficult, and I think about it all the time. And I'm planning on making a video about grief and being angry at God, because I think that's something that's needed. And I think we're too embarrassed to be angry at God as Christians today.
Mm-hmm.
But He can take it, and I think it's worse to lie to yourself and act like you're not mad at God. And, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, but.
Spencer said something earlier about this being profound. I don't think it's profound. It's 8 years of experience and 8 years of depending on God and 8 years of Him carrying me through it all that's got me to understand where I'm at today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's what makes it easier for me to understand where you're at.
I don't have a will. If Andrea didn't have a will, did it make it more difficult to settle legal matters? No, it didn't, unless your spouse is alive. I imagine if you had issues where you were a blended family, that could be problematic.
It could be.
But there are things you can take in situations, steps beforehand to take that out. And I think even if you just write things down, I think even if you just write something down on a piece of paper, even if it's not notarized or whatever, I think most judges take that stuff into consideration as it is. So Andrea didn't have a will, but
There was a question, I'm not sure I've ever heard your viewpoint on transplants, but they asked if that changes your view on transplants.
no, I see that. I'm not sure if they're referring to something there, but I think transplants are great. I think it's a wonderful blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think the act of donating can be a bit sticky, but I think there's definitely people that are alive today, and Scott wouldn't have been around near as long as he was. If
No, my
he
kids
didn't
wouldn't have had their
that.
dad for an extra 5 years if it hadn't been for those transplants.
Mm-hmm.
We used to tease about it because it was Valentine's weekend when he got his first one. And I said, you didn't get a heart, but you did get a whole new lease on life. And I mean, my kids would have been, let's see, Joshua would have been 5, and Rachel would have been about 3 or 4 years old at the time. I mean, how many years would they have not had with their dad if not for that?
Wow, a farmer etched his will into his tractor while being crushed by it, and the court accepted it. Exactly. I think as long as you have something written down, I think some states are more difficult than others. I didn't mean to interrupt that.
It's okay.
That's very profound and true. Absolutely. Got distracted by that interesting comment.
We're sitting here waiting for a question.
Yep.
Usually there's a lot of talking involved.
It's a late night, so it's 500 people or so. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz. It does help us out.
It's a more sobering conversation.
Yes, it is. And here's a video about her mom's death, expressed her thoughts and beliefs about death and how she came to a place of peace about it. Yeah, that video was very powerful about death. And Andrea told me after she made it, she says, I think that's my most important video. She told me that right after she uploaded it. And I think, oh, really? Wow, we'll have to pay attention. That's profound. I remember thinking that. I remember paying attention to the fact that she thought it was the most important video. I didn't think it would be her most important video for me, but...
How are the kids doing?
They're doing good. They're doing good. They're all really warming up to April, and the little girls love her to death, and the big boys like her, and I think generally they're all doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're still grieving. I think they're all having issues. It's not going to disappear either for them. So.
And kids grieve differently. I've been doing a lot of reading up on this and studies on it. Kids grieve differently than we do as adults. And they're grieving for a parent versus a spouse. And there's just, they do it in stages.
Tom, did you hear a couple of years back when some group translated the Lord's Prayer to let us not fall into temptation instead of lead us not into temptation? What are your thoughts? Well, I think I've actually looked at that. The actual Greek is to lead us out of temptation, basically. It's a negative. So it basically means lead us out of temptation. I think they're more worried about the fact that, see, God doesn't lead you into temptation. God doesn't help people to sin. He's God. He's perfect. And I think that they're looking too deep into it. I think the point of the prayer comes out, and I think we read the Bible and we start to sometimes, I think, have a habit to worship the Bible instead of worshiping God. And so we get so hung up on exact words and perfect translations and all that, and I just think that's probably not the accurate way to go about it. I don't have much problem with either way to translate it. I'd have more of a problem with the fact that they wanted to do it to try to protect God from something, and I think that's lame.
I think the perspective on the transplants
Apparently
came
people
up.
have to die and the organs have to be harvested. So you guys kind of tricked that out of me, if I recall, because I remember talking about organ donors was something that I didn't want to really talk about. I had heard some horror stories, let's just put it that way. And so the problem is not receiving transplants. The problem is how they get, when they get donated, when organs are harvested. And you have to be alive for them to be harvested. You can't harvest them when they're dead.
That is true.
And so it's...
One of Scott's biggest things was the hardest part about being on a transplant list is knowing that somebody else has to die in order for you to live. And that was something he struggled with a lot. It was something that he prayed about often and really did struggle with. But I can see where some of those horror stories have come from. We've heard them too.
God won't tempt us, but will test us. Our temptations come from the flesh. Yeah, that's what James says. When someone is tempted, no one should say, God has tempted me, because God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each one is tempted when they're led away by their own evil desires and enticed. When desire is conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it's full grown, gives birth to death. So it's our own self, our own fault when we sin.
Rachel and Justus, you two are supposed to, and
Rachel was
Eden
there.
are all supposed to be in bed asleep.
Yep.
They're doing a little camp out right now. So now Mom knows. Sorry, I was trying to figure out why everybody was saying hi, and then I realized when
I
Rachel
saw it
did the
earlier,
face.
but you were talking. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I saw she was there. Must be hard to mourn and court at the same time. You know what? I would take that back. It's hard to mourn.
It is.
It's not hard to court, and it's easier. Mourning alone, way worse than mourning with somebody else. Yeah. Hands down. But you're brain dead, Tom, and there's a lot to go with being declared brain dead. I don't want to keep talking about it, but I've heard stories of people that they thought were brain dead who were not brain dead. And it actually was harvesting the organs that ended up killing them. So that's not always the case, and organ donors are a wonderful thing, and I'm not saying you shouldn't be an organ donor. I just think that we need to be... I think there maybe be some better systems in place for when deciding to do it, but they have to act fast. Mm-hmm. Once the blood's coagulated in your body, all your organs are worthless. And so they have to take them out while the heart's still beating. And so, and obviously...
And if they don't do it in the right order, and if they don't do it at the right time, there's complications. Scott went through those complications because of the transplants he went through.
Marriage through God's eyes. I kind of like the theme of that question. Mm-hmm. What is marriage? I don't know what it is. It certainly isn't the government giving me a piece of paper saying I get an extra tax deduction. Mm-mm. That's not what it is.
No.
And if the government tells you can now legally be divorced and marry somebody else, that doesn't mean that God honors that either.
No.
If tomorrow they say we can marry rocks or our dog, that doesn't mean that God accepts those things. So it's the kind of thing that what is marriage? I don't know. That's an interesting thing. I think it's a covenant, and what is implied and what we do by it is something you could study your whole life, probably. I always love Andrea, but I think she's smiling down on you, Tom. Thank you. Be happy with how you are. Moving forward, a mother and father figure are so vital. Thank you. I very much appreciate that.
Judah just left the room. Somebody said, "Where's Judah?" No, I have not moved here yet. I saw something about watching Andrea's videos, but I didn't see the whole question. I went too fast.
If you watch Andrea's videos, what do you take away from them? If you don't mind me asking, how do they make you feel?
Most of the ones I've watched are either ones that I've watched with Tom together, but in the early days when he first put me onto the YouTube and showed me that I went to a lot of her scheduling stuff just to see how she was doing, scheduling, because I tend to be a planner. And I just want to I wanted to compare what our thoughts were, and I liked some of her ideas. I have my own in other areas, but overall, I think I've learned a few things. One thing I'm learning more than anything is, and this goes not just for Andrea, but even the kids and Tom and me, is you guys see a snippet of our lives on here, but you're not really seeing everything. So there's a whole nother aspect of Andrea that I'm learning about through her kids, through her family members, that the YouTube channel really can't fill in for me, if that makes sense. I mean, the videos are nice and they're kind of like how-tos, but they don't show me who she really is. They show me who she's showing you guys a step or a process. Learning who Andrea is in the stories that Tom tells, or the stories that the kids tell, or even the pictures. I learn more from these pictures that we're watching in the videos and asking questions about the pictures than I do from watching the videos.
There's a lot in the videos. I keep saying one of these days, we're gonna someday
watch this one. We're gonna watch that.
We're gonna
one.
watch them. We'll watch them all someday. And I want to watch, Scott's videos too. So I think that'll all be a good thing to do. But that's on the back burner.
Thank you, Patty. I'm glad I look younger. Thank you. I'd rather look younger than older, but that's just me. What was that? What did you
grow? Apples, lemons?
We did have lemon trees. We had mandarin trees. We had cherry trees. When we lost the 95 trees, those were primarily peach, plum. I think there's a couple apple in there, a few apple in there. But it was mostly peach, plums, and there was a third. I'm drawing a blank now. But we lost them due to the drought in combination with the fire that was on our property, and we lost our entire irrigation. So when we did that, I just didn't feel like dealing with trying to replant everything for a while. And then Scott got sick, or sicker, I should say, and just kind of gave up on doing the farming for a while.
I think the doctor and the ambulance and Gillette should have held off on giving her such a big dose that she got to speak to the kids. This bothers me. It bothers me a lot, too. That doctor was super nice, and she did things. I mean, she came out. They admitted us while we were in the ambulance. They didn't make us come into the hospital. They didn't make us go through and get checked in. And she had not had any pain medicine for some time, and she was in a lot of pain. But, towards the end, right before she got that last dose, she wasn't in pain. She seemed like she was fine, and she was relatively clear. But she hadn't had it for a while. She had missed several doses of the medicine. Mm-hmm. And then, so she gave her a big dose, I guess, so she would feel better. And I know that's what put her into the coma. I saw it happening. And the EMT driver said, oh boy, she felt that one. And she never really woke up after that, so I think it was the drugs that did it. But again, I hold no ill will towards the doctor because she was doing things. They were trying to get us pain medicine to go home. Mm-hmm. And you can't just go get fentanyl from a hospital. So and she was going to do it. She says, we're going to send you home with a pump and blah, blah, blah. And they were going to get it, and she was getting all the paperwork done, and she had a superior doctor or boss came out and said, I'm sorry, we can't do that. And she had put a kibosh on it, but they at least gave her some while she was there. But I often wonder, it only happened the way it was supposed to happen. It couldn't have happened any other way. But I still think about the fact that if she hadn't gotten that last dose, she probably would have been more conscious. But then maybe she would have been in a lot more pain, and maybe it would have been terrible, so there's no telling.
Watching someone you love in pain as they're going through that is one of the hardest things you can go through. I
couldn't sleep in there. I've been staying up nonstop by her for days, and I slept in another room. I couldn't sit there and watch her anymore. And I kind of regret it now, but it was so painful. It was worse in a lot of ways than when she was dead.
Thank you. There have been a couple people that have asked how the YouTubers are treating me.
Generally pretty good.
Yeah. Most of you guys are really great to me. I'll leave it at that.
We have made our own sodas. Actually, Andrea made her own sodas a lot. We have a sort of army of CO2 cartridges down there, and she made a bunch of her own sodas. But I'm not much of a soda drinker, so I don't really care.
I think I have to agree with Ari on that. Kids watching parents that are going through that pain is hard too. My kids didn't leave the hospital with me for 10 days.
Yeah.
I slept by Scott's side, and I slept maybe 2 hours a night for those 10 days. My daughter, who's 22 now, was there for 8 of those days. Rachel, the one you all know, who's 11, spent the last 5 to 6 days with us there at the hospital, and she was there. She watched the whole thing. She was with us throughout it. She wouldn't leave. They slept, they brought sleeping bags in and pillows in and all kinds of stuff in for the kids, and they slept at the foot of the bed. And then Joshua and the other brothers were going back and forth taking care of the animals at home and then coming during the day. But they were there too, and watching your parent go through that pain and the dying process is very hard. Yeah. But none of mine would have left.
Yeah.
I'm not sure any of your older ones would have wanted to leave either.
No, Judah and Asher were there all night long with her, being with her, and I was glad she was there. In retrospect, I wasn't thinking straight. And I heard all these stories before about how people are in a coma, they can hear you, and they can hear this and that, and hearing is the last thing to go, and blah, blah, blah.
It is.
And I should have thought about that and talked to her more. I regret not talking to her more. And I didn't even, all that information, I didn't even think about it at the time. And
when you're in the grief, you don't know what you're going through. You're not going to show, your mind doesn't think the same way you normally would. I am proud of my Marine. I'm proud of my Army daughter as well, and my son who did his 4 years in the Army as well.
I'm so no good with pain meds. They have given me 2 low doses of meds and put me to sleep. Oh, that's terrible. I keep thinking about like just now revisiting it, that if Andrea hadn't have got that last big dose of fentanyl that put her into the coma, she would have been more with it. But you know what? Her pain would have kept getting worse and worse and worse. And
you would have had to make a decision.
And she would have been more suffering, I think, is my guess. You were exhausted. I was.
Senses are our last thing that goes in the dying process. They hear right up to the end. I watched my mother-in-law pass away in 2013. So I knew from watching what had happened there and talking with the ladies, the hospice people, I think that's what gave me a different viewpoint than what you were going through. I knew to be there with Scott, and my voice was the only thing that would keep him calm enough. The nurses, even my daughter, would have to wake me up if I fell asleep, because he would literally fight them. Mm-hmm. He got a condition that he fought them all the way to the end.
I regret too, like, even after she went into the coma, when we finally got back and got into the hospice place in her bed, I could shake her, like, hey, wake up. And then she would, what? And then she'd be awake. And then she would be, it would be like for a second, maybe just a second, and then she'd be back out again. And then the same thing, I could shake her, and then she'd, what? And then she would be back out again. And at one point, I shook her and said, say hi to your kids. And she goes, hi. And then she was back out again. And so I was really glad that happened. But then I stopped shaking her. I kept wondering if I had kept doing that, maybe she would have just popped out of it and stayed awake at some point.
Not with the medications they had her on. You said they had her on fentanyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Scott wasn't in the hospital all 8 years. The 8 years of suffering had to do with after it started with type 1 diabetes that killed the kidneys, and then we were doing dialysis. I actually did home dialysis with him. They trained me in less than 6 weeks how to put 15 gauge needles in his arm 5 days a week, and we did that for 9 months. And then after doing that, he got on a transplant list, and we thought, oh great, this is going to take forever. He got his transplants, and there was complications with the transplants. One of them didn't take, and they had to go back in, and he got a virus. And then we found out a month into it that he was allergic to a medication. But by this point, he'd gone from 170 pounds to 120 pounds, and he had no muscle, and he had no ability to take care of himself, and 2 surgeries caused all kinds of damage. And basically we spent the next 2 years just getting him healthy enough to be able to walk on his own again. And about that time, he's working a job, and he gets a second transplant, and then they turn his bone marrow off, and he was in and out of the hospital constantly during those years. And as soon as we get him well enough, then something else would happen. And so it's just 8 years of back and forth, constantly trying to keep him alive, basically, with the complications. And then the cancer got him in the end.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I'm reading all you're saying about, Andrea and stuff. I appreciate all that stuff. So.
Sorry, a child's trying to send me a message, so give me a second here.
Could not have known, Tom. I probably got to give you peace and all that went on in the hospital. I generally have peace about it. There's always what ifs. I'm a big fan of understanding the flow of time, especially in the past. You ever think about that? Past is what happened in the past. It's all done and gone. Future hasn't happened yet. But what is the present? It's like a little sliver. The second something is the present, it's in the past next. And I don't know what the present is, or what it is, or how it works with God, but I already know that there's no other way things could have happened with Andrea. They happened exactly the way they were going to happen, and there's nothing I could have done to make them any different. Our brain wants to play the what-if game and how we could have done some things differently, but in reality, everybody makes the best decision they have with the information that's presented at the time, and we would all do the same thing over and over again. So,
You're talking about how to get the highlighted name.
yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't for me. I don't know about you guys, but if I put the @ symbol, sometimes it highlights y'all, sometimes it doesn't.
Only the person who's highlighted gets to see the highlight.
Ah, okay. It's going so fast now I can't keep up.
Got the hearing. I was alone with my mom. I kissed her and prayed for her. Told her I loved her. I did find a keeper. April does have a big heart.
Thank you. If I have a big heart, it's only because God gives it to me.
Or grew it in you.
In fact, it grew it in me. Yeah.
Think about time a lot. About how every second is not promised, even though it feels like it just flows forward. It makes sense. Yep, exactly. And what is it to other people? Could it be different? Is the present different to God? Is there no present to God? Or is the present actually now? Does God understand the present is now? Or does God, being outside of time, see it as one giant open book and there is no present but just a flow of time? I mean, we think because we've watched a few Back to the Future movies we can grasp it, but we really can't. And what did I say?
I gotta step away for a second to help Joshua with something. Sorry. I'll try to talk.
I think time is for us. True. I mean, if you think about, if you believe Einstein's theories, which I personally do, the speed of light and mass are related to energy, which doesn't make sense. But the flow of time only exists when matter is present. If you get away from matter, time will stop, according to Einstein, or slow down. That's led some people to think that a black hole is actually an exploding star, but it's so dense it never finishes and time basically stops, which I find interesting. But so I don't know. I don't know what time is either. But I can pray now, and maybe God hears me now, right? Mm-hmm. Or did he already knew I was going to pray? And I don't know how that works, but it's interesting to think about.
You can get yourself into a great big spin trying to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's asking what's in the shadow box up above.
It's all clean up there because April's been cleaning it, which is probably why you're asking about it. It's our nature shelf up there. That particular box there is a snake skin that I killed when it was, well, it wasn't exactly threatening our family, but we were out playing and I was working on Grandma Kitty's wood pile and there was a rattlesnake right there. Mm. So I killed it.
You killed one?
I killed it and skinned it, and that's the skin up there.
How many have you killed total?
3, maybe.
Joshua, he's killed 3 rattlesnakes.
You killed a few more rattlesnakes than that.
If you live in California, Northern California, you kill them all the time.
Diamondback rattlesnakes were all over the place.
Nowhere close to that.
Joshua's nowhere near it. But Autumn used to take a shovel to get their heads off. We would cut their heads off, and then we would take the rattlesnakes to the local school to show the kids so that they would learn what does a rattlesnake look like at all different ages.
I still haven't learned.
I know that you can bury the skull of a rattlesnake and it'll still be poisonous in 100 years.
Ooh, that's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
She used to like to get them right behind the neck because when you do it, you can actually make the jaws open. And then, and we wanted, like I said, we would use it as a teaching opportunity. We made sure all of our kids knew what they looked like, and then we'd take them to the local schools and give them to the science teachers and stuff so the kids would start to know and recognize them easily.
Cheryl B., I'm sorry about your loss there 2 years ago, and you're still missing every second of every day. I totally feel that. Totally understand it.
It doesn't go away. It just, over time, it starts to lighten.
Watching y'all flirt with each other is absolutely adorable.
Flirt? Nah.
Look at you. I can see your real smiles. That's pretty cute. No, I'm reading the comments. I'm kind of following. Everything's fine, guys. I'm not quite worried about anything. So, thought it was a machete or something, not a snakeskin. Oh, it's a really bad snake. I mean, I've never skinned a snake before, so I didn't do a good job.
Are there a lot of snakes here?
No. I mean, you'll see snakes fairly frequently. But they're all bull snakes most of the time. They're not poisonous.
Bull snakes are good snakes.
You'll see rattlers on occasion. I mean, all my years out here, I've only ever seen 2 rattlesnakes. One was that one, and the other one was going across the path at Devil's Tower, and there was like 5 rangers there, like shepherding it. Heavy lie. We just lost my father-in-law this week, and a former coworker died from the virus. Oh man. Can usually escape from my life with you guys, but not tonight. I'm sorry, Kristen. It's difficult, isn't it?
Well, we're talking about death. That may be part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been a little deeper, but...
No, I haven't always had my hair this color. Somebody asked if I've always had my hair. It was actually an accident. Just before Christmas, I went in to have my hair done. Oh, you're waving at somebody?
Someone said to wave myself.
Anyway, my hairstylist had called to get the colors, and the person that was reading it off the note said the wrong color, and so when she got it and she started making it, she realized and she was going to like reschedule. I'm like, no, this is like the day before Christmas Eve, and I need my hair done before we do this big Christmas thing. This was going to be my first Christmas without Scott. We were going to have a bunch of family around, and anyway, long story short, I said, go ahead and do it, and I got so many compliments on the color that I fell in love with it.
Kept doing it.
Kept doing it.
My first time. Well, hey, Diana, I'm glad you can make it.
Just Jennifer, my natural hair color, I haven't seen that in a long time. I think it's mostly like a dirty blonde, a dark blonde color at this point. I'm sure there's gray somewhere in there, but I don't let it come out for very long. We actually had that discussion with Sophia this afternoon, huh? We were talking about hair color and gray. It was this morning at the library at the park thing.
Yeah, today was library day, the story hour, which they're still, because of the COVID thing, they're still doing it at the park, which was still nice.
Yeah.
What's your thought about hugs and kisses around the kids?
I don't have a problem with displays of affection.
PDAs?
Never been a problem
She's
for me.
real, doesn't mind PDAs at all. I'm lesser on that scale, but still, I think it's important to model a loving relationship in front of your kids.
A healthy one. Do you think Hannah will be hurt when I leave?
Yeah. She'll be sad. She'll miss you.
Yeah.
I mean, she wakes up and that's what she looks for April.
Rachel sent me a video, was it 2 nights ago? Or 2 mornings ago? 5 in the morning, she sends me this video. Hannah's woken up and she's calling for me. And was it Eden that went and got you? Or you came in and got her or something? Yeah, Rachel said that's all Hannah did. All I could hear was Hannah calling for me. I go home on Wednesday.
Yeah, I still have planned on taking the kids to youth group when they open it back up. Absolutely. I think that's a good idea. So. What, Sal? Is Sal on there?
I think I did see Sal on there.
So Rachel Day said hi, Sal. Oh, hey, what's up, man? You're up late, or rather yet normal.
Really?
I always like it when Sal gets on there because he tells embarrassing stories about me.
Oh, do tell, Sal. I want to hear.
He always goes to the same go-to ones. He'll talk about when he grabbed the... I thought we were coming back from an arcade, and I was really low on gas. I thought we are not going to make it. And he starts grabbing the handbrake and going like this. And the car's going like this. Oh, crap, I'm running out of gas. And I was like, hey, stop playing with the handbrake. We're running out of gas. And he's just laughing. He just gets started laughing. He can't stop laughing. It's a goober.
No, none of the kids are coming with me. Sorry, guys. Don't get me wrong. Some of them want to, but we decided they need to be here and for a little while.
Said something about punching a donkey or a cow. No,
Oh.
I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe he talked about we should do that. He keeps thinking he's going to chase a turkey and get a turkey, but he's never going to catch a turkey. They're too fast. They're also kind of scary.
Most of the turkeys that were up in Northern California, they were so scrawny you wouldn't want to eat them.
Should be that one time in the arena. Never forget Chancho loves you. Oh, is that Dame? What's going on, man? I would never have known that was you if you hadn't have said that. I still play that Awkward Lovers Guild thing we did with that on WoW. I still play that sometimes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with gray hair. I like it, and your beard.
I got some weird stripes going on. I got the dark action coming down from here, but everywhere else it's getting white. So
I don't have a problem with gray hair. I just don't want to be gray. That's just me.
it is you. I guess I didn't really. I never would have. If I'd have seen Anthony, I would never have thought it was Anthony. If it had said Dame, I would have thought maybe it was you. But that's awesome. And way to get yourself noticed. See, I didn't. My sister gave me a super chat that I didn't even see it apparently. But
I do like chickpeas. Hannah.
Awkward Lovers for life. That's right. That's right. The kitty's still around. They're both still around. They are very much a part of our lives now.
Mm-hmm.
Very much part of our lives. I never was a cat. I mean, I never really hated cats, but we were more dog people than cat people. But they keep following us home.
There's a question for you from Molly.
You think leaving could cause Leo?
It's a 12-hour drive for me.
Children's feelings of abandonment or trauma, losing their mother so young. Hope that wasn't personal. No, I don't. I mean, I don't think so.
They know I'm coming back.
We've been very reasonable with our kids all along, and so they. I don't think it'll be an issue. I think the little ones more than the bigger ones. Hannah will no doubt wake up looking for April. Your kids take off summer off from school? Yeah, most of them do. Asher's still doing his schoolwork, but because he wants to. He's very much a overachiever.
I'm with you, Hannah. I like a good hummus every once in a while, too. Yeah, I drive with just the kids all the time. Before I met Tom last summer, me and the kids took a 5-week vacation? Just me and Joshua and Rachel, and we drove and we did Grand Canyon, and we did Carlsbad Cavern, and we saw Petrified Forest, and we did the Ark and the Creation Museum, and we did the St. Louis Arch. I actually had planned on driving this summer all the way out to DC with them, but I'm not terrified to go out and do those things. I don't mind driving with him. I won't do 24 hours like he likes to do.
I don't really like to do it. We normally stop too, but there was a couple of advantages. Saving money was one, and then also we didn't have time. That was a big issue.
Yeah, time was definitely an
We didn't have very much time based on some people being there, some people not going to be there. Melanie was going to be coming soon, and it was right after Chad was leaving, so we had a very limited time of how much time we were going to be gone. And so it was either spend 2 days driving there, 2 days getting back, and like 1 day in Kentucky, or it was drive straight back and have 3 days, which is what we ended up doing. You be doing anything special on August 19th? Mostly I'll be crying my eyes out, probably. But
he will, even if he doesn't want to admit it.
I feel like it's just going to be another day, but then
Nope.
I think
It won't be just another day.
I'll do a video, and after that, I don't know if I'll continue doing the monthly videos or not.
I don't think that just because I'm going to Idaho that the courting is going to end.
It's true. We'll still be
when
courting.
I'm going to be back, I don't know. We're still kind of...
Probably won't be that long.
It's up to him, not me. I have to go back to take care of some things, just a few things, but the decision's going to be up to Tom as to how long I'm gone. Because Grandma Kitty pretty much opened the door and said I can stay as long as I want, come whenever I want.
We love you, Mom. Your older children have any interest in college or trade school? As at this point, no. The only ones that are old enough to be thinking about it are really Thomas. I don't know what Asher's got planned in his mind, but trade schools are probably, we prefer those. Going into debt for college is not something we're a big fan of. So we've never pushed college. I was kind of growing up thinking you had to go to college, and I went and got my bachelor's, but if we're being honest, I wish I had my money back.
So the most common way that kids are interact with other children, and at least here for what I've seen, is there's a lot of neighborhood kids around here. And they do a lot. There's a lot of cousins and stuff that are involved in your kids' lives, and they do a lot. In my case, my kids had friends that were outside of school. We did youth groups. We did 4-H. We also, above and beyond that, traveled a lot. And the school that our kids were going to was online. So their classmates were all over the U.S., and so they would pen pal with people and call people, and sometimes if we were driving through a particular state, we would meet up with those parents and kids and do something fun in their state. And so for us, that's how we did it. But here I see these kids are super active. They've got friends all around.
Yeah, there's plenty of stuff. It's one of those questions that it's the kind of question that you would never ask if we haven't been programmed to ask. Anybody who's a homeschooler is aware of what about the socialization? And that's just what you hear all the time.
Yeah.
And it's been programmed, I think, by people who are maybe not quite all that fond about homeschooling. And so they make it sound as if you homeschool, your kid will be like, "Oh, what's your name? I don't know how to talk to people." You know, like they're totally going to be a buffoon and talking with people. It's just not true.
But if you think about it, back in the days, okay, when you didn't have a school to go to, and you were all homeschooled in this country, I mean, kids weren't socialized any different than they are now. And they moved throughout the country and met people and pen palled with people. And so I don't really think it's that much of a difference.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, we personally see kids as adults in training and not just kids that their whole job in life is to play all day long and have no responsibilities. I just don't think that's the right way to do things. And so the idea that they need to go to school and then basically be playing with kids, other friends all day 24/7 it's just not accurate. And they have, and that having been said, they have plenty of neighborhood friends. We have there's no limit to having other people in their lives. So
Super Mama, my first advice to you as somebody who's just starting homeschooling is don't stress out about it. Don't over stress yourself trying to figure out how everybody else does it. Figure out how your kids learn. Start there. How do your kids learn, and what things do you think that they're weak in, and then concentrate on those first. The first year, most moms get so overwhelmed with it the first year because they try to do and take on too much. The purpose of homeschooling is your kids is that you know your kids better than anybody else does. So just work with that. Start there. I never mentioned that again. Why did that not put that for review? I told you guys, I alluded to the fact that there was a homeschool conference guy named Jay Weil who gave a big talk about the different kinds of different things of homeschooling. He went through all the statistics, like if you're rich and you homeschool, if you're poor and you homeschool, if you're educated and you homeschool, if you're uneducated and you homeschool, if you're fat, skinny, this curriculum, that curriculum, all the different possibilities of homeschooling, and none of it made a difference. Anyways, I contacted the guy because I really wanted to share that with you guys, and I thought, it's not my thing, I don't know if I should share it, but I contacted him and he gave me a video version of it and said I could share it, and as long as I put a link to his publisher's site. And so we're going to be doing that. I'm going to put a deal on there and display his video where you guys can see this thing, all the statistics about we'll be playing. That'll be really great. But I also want to say something about Princess Bubblegum said something about the socialization. Oh man, I forgot it now. Oh well. Sorry. I'm not sure I understand that particular question, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the schools are trying to do virtual options these days.
Didn't help your shyness. That's what it was.
Huh?
That was me.
Hi.
Nothing. That I was super shy in high school. Super shy. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't go on any dances. I didn't go on any dates. I never did any of that stuff. And I can guarantee you it was because of the public school system that made me that way. I can tell you almost exactly why I was that way.
I wasn't shy.
I can tell. That's just your style. But I was, and I can guarantee you my kids would be just like me. But seeing him in a homeschool environment, like especially like Thomas, he could be super shy, but he's not. He's very outgoing. He's never had his dreams crushed by bullies, is what it basically comes down to.
Who did you wave to, Tom? Somebody asked you to wave, right?
I think it was the Cindy a while back.
What does Hannah call April? April?
April.
Mostly, yeah, April. And she's been calling for Rachel a little bit lately, too. Rachel's afraid to pick her up. She's so scared of dropping her or hurting her. She's terrified of that. So she'll come sit on the couch and Hannah will come sit with her, but Rachel won't pick her up, which is kind of cute. My oldest kids, Matthew is, like I said before, he's pretty relaxed about it. Autumn is still grieving Scott quite a bit. So, I don't know. I wouldn't say that she's negative on me dating. She's just kind of not really sure. And we had to have some discussions about how soon Scott and I met after my divorce and how quickly our relationship moved forward. But she was 6. And that's, time for her was different when she was 6 than time for her now at 22. Mm-hmm. So, how old are my kids? Okay, 25, 22, 21, 19, 13, and 11.
Find out if you can keep chickens now. No, you still can't. Not in town. But they said that they're open to changing the rule, but just no one's ever brought it up.
My late husband, passed away May 1st of 2019. So I'm only 2 months ahead of Tom.
Really? Is that it?
May 1st of 2019.
But you kind of knew it was coming, though.
From January, the day he was diagnosed, I knew that we were going to have complications and was pretty sure he wasn't going to make it. They tried to be positive, but because he was a double transplant patient, I knew there was a lot of complications. And I'm a researcher. Once I start finding out, they say you have this. When they said he was going to go on dialysis, I read everything I could on dialysis. I mean, everything the doctors gave me, everything I could find on the internet, just learn whatever the disease was. And when I started reading about the melanoma, I realized that people assume that skin cancer is, that's just skin cancer. They'll just cut it off your nose or cut it off your face. Well, melanoma is not that way. Melanoma is the only skin cancer that metastasizes, and once it does, it gets into the lymph system, you're a goner. It's the amount of people that actually survive it is less than 25% of the people that ever get melanoma survive past 5 years. So I knew it was coming. I just wasn't expecting it to come that fast.
Most FAQ, yeah. FAQ said would be, these are our ages of our kids. Mm-hmm. We homeschool. We're not married yet.
They ask that a lot, don't they?
Yeah, what else would it be?
Ages of our kids, names of our kids. I have 3 boys, 3 girls. It literally is a Brady Bunch: boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, all the way through. Am I moving here yet? That's a frequently asked question. Did I miss one?
No.
I don't know that my older kids do. I do know that my sister has gone through, and when I told her who I was dating and when he first told me about the YouTube channel, all I had said was his name and his wife's name, and she researched all kinds of stuff, and I told him, I'm like, just kind of warn you, my sister is an investigator, and so she's doing a background check and everything, and so she did far more background stuff than I did.
Well, thank you, Raymond. That was awful nice. So sorry you lost my mom and lost my dad back in 2016. Yikes.
That's hard.
That's tough. I lost my dad when I was young. It's losing parents is really difficult. I really appreciate that. kind of bike do you have, Tom? It's a motorbike, a road bike.
I can tell you, Ashley, right off the get-go, I do not want to have more children. No. That is awesome, Gina, that you survived 10 years. Most people don't, so you were one of the lucky ones. And I bet if asked, you probably do very regular checks.
I'm sure we missed a lot of good ones. Sorry about that. When we get to talking, we missed some of the comments. So if you missed something you said, you'll have to ask it again. I apologize. Are you a fan of the Pearl method of discipline? I'm not familiar with that.
What is that one?
Don't know. I've been meaning to do another live bike ride. I even toyed with the idea of doing one tonight, but I really wanted to just get away by myself, and so
you needed that tonight.
Yeah.
You needed to be. I actually kind of started harassing him around 4:30. You need to go on your bike ride. You need to go on your bike ride. You need to get on your bike. So if you guys did ask a question and we missed it, please do ask again so we can see it. I didn't see your question, Joanne, so what was the question? The last question was for me.
On if you get in the attic. Is that going to be disruptive?
No, go ahead. Like a bike or bicycle ride? You talking about mine? Mine is, I rode 10 miles on my bike today, just off on a road. Wyoming is one of the best places to ride bikes. There's no law against riding your bike anywhere in Wyoming, so you can ride your bike on the freeway if you want, or anywhere else.
Are you going to be able to get that down?
Boy, what do you need up there?
Speaker.
My allergies are doing much better. It did turn into a little bit of a sinus congestion thing, but the allergies, now that we've gotten away from everything, I'm feeling significantly better. I think I sound better. I don't know. I don't sound as congested, I guess.
That was Judah.
Leave it to Judah to pop in.
Oh, you want to wrap this up about midnight?
How long have we been
That's
doing
because
this?
you're
It's been
hungry.
a long time. An hour and 18 minutes.
I became a Christian in my... I thought I was a Christian in my early teens, but I realized that I hadn't made the true commitment until I was about 25 years old. I didn't learn... Let's just say, yeah, that would probably be a good way. I didn't learn how to be a good Christian until closer to my 30s. I jumped from church to church because I didn't understand. I couldn't find a church that would teach you, if that makes sense. They would bring you to Christ, but then there was nothing to teach you afterwards. And that was a big struggle for me, is I wanted to know more. And so there was a lot of people that were willing to bring you and help you make that decision, but never, expand upon it further. Oh, I want to hear about the Pokemon references. Somebody asked, I think you asked that earlier, my older kids do not watch, that I'm aware of, they do not watch any of these.
We actually found something in the attic.
I'm trying to think. Maybe it's possible that Sarah might, which is my daughter-in-law, but I don't believe my actual son and daughter. They're not big YouTube people either. Matthew spends most of his time playing games, not watching other people.
That's awesome, Diana. That's great. Being in God's Word, that's wonderful.
Yeah. I'm not in my 30s now. I wish. More like mid to late 40s.
The Wild Judah appears. That's the
Yes.
Pokemon reference.
Ah, the Wild Judah. Is the Wild Judah going to make another appearance?
All three of there's a bunch of boys that were climbing up the ladder here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were finding the speaker.
When will April be? I don't have an answer to that. Ask him. When will I be visiting again?
Soon enough.
That made Thomas stop and look over too.
Do you believe in tithing? How does that work with the home church? That's a good question. I don't believe 10% is a rule. I think that's an Old Testament rule. I think those rules are gone in that way. I think we should be generous with our money no matter if it's more than 10% or less than 10%. And so we just look for ways to be generous with our money in our community and with people we know whenever we can, as opposed to giving your money to somebody you don't necessarily know, which is still supporting missions is great, and I think you just pray about those things and do how you like, but that's just kind of what we do.
What did the kids think about the Sound of Music? You guys do this.
Yeah, we do our movie night. We had movie night day before yesterday. And we watched Sound of Music, and it was very good. We all liked it. I had never seen it, actually. I knew what it was about, but I hadn't watched it, and the kids all liked it. And
The hardest part was
was
Rachel and I
exciting.
kept trying to sing to everything.
yeah, you guys knew all the songs. I knew a couple of them, but I'd heard them enough
Yeah.
times. And I didn't know like that Rainbows and Roses and all that. I didn't realize that would come from Sound of Music.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to sing Phoebe's version of it from Friends, or
It's actually
Noodles
one,
with String.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
one that you hear during Christmas a lot on Christmas
Yeah.
stations. But yeah, it came from Sound of the Music. I love it.
If there's no temple, then why use the temple system? Agreed, Jonathan. Agreed. I think God wants us to be generous with our money and give of our first fruits to Him. But yeah, I think it's actually officially 10%. I don't believe that that's a hard and fast rule, but it's not a bad amount, I suppose. But
Sound of Music is a family classic. I think every family needs to watch it at least once. We happen to own it on DVD, so we watch it more than once.
how was Claudia adjusted to April? I know she had blunt questions after Andrea passed. She's very blunt. You know Claudia. Actually, she told me today, April's my mom. And I'm like, well, I know, and she was saying it in a laughing manner, but that was her way of saying that she liked her. So I thought
And
that
then
was
she fell
really,
asleep on me tonight.
Then she fell asleep on her. It was really sweet.
Any fun dates together? Mostly.
A lot of our dates
dinner.
are dumb. I mean, we go out to dinner sometimes. We go walk at the park sometimes. Those
Yeah.
are good dates. But sometimes it's like, hey, how about you fold laundry downstairs and I'll work on the computer?
Yeah.
Or let's sit on the porch
It's
swing
real
together.
life. It's real
Yeah.
life stuff. Yes. Now that's something we can do. My favorite is sitting on the porch and watching the thunderstorms that roll in here.
Yeah.
I just love to watch the lightning and the rain and everything. Yeah, Claudia's a sweetheart.
It's wild you hadn't watched it before. I know. And it's even more wild that
It came
we
out.
started doing this movie night, one movie the last Monday of the month, watching one of the top 100 movies in reverse order, and years ago. And the fact that by the time Sound of Music came up, I'd have a woman in my house watching it with me, and my wife would be dead just like the guy in the movie. It's just eerie.
You guys are playing with the speaker.
Oh wait, there's a pyramid device button up there.
Alrighty, well I guess we're gonna probably wrap this up.
Any other famous movies you haven't seen?
I'm sure. I actually haven't seen a whole lot of movies. We never really went to the movies very frequently, and we don't have TV, so one of those things that there's lots of movies that I haven't actually seen. We watch the big ones and stuff, but
This will make a sound if it connects.
I'm like the biggest Wolverine fan of all time, and I haven't seen Logan yet. I was gonna make Andrea watch it with me, and then she died, so now I haven't watched it, and I don't want to watch. I mean, I do, but I don't. But what movie is next? Oh, it's something I haven't heard of. What was the movie that was next?
Do you guys remember the name
What was
of
the
the
next movie on the list?
Something started with D.
It was some sort of
Dog.
name.
It was a single syllable D.
Dantum or
Duma. That's what it was.
Duma. Duma is the name.
Never
of
heard
it.
of it.
I hadn't heard of it either. I don't know what it is. There's something called Duma.
Maybe it's about the parents.
And then
How does my kids feel about moving? Considering we just got done moving and it took us a year to clean out 3 houses, narrow down the stuff, buy a house in Idaho, and move. I don't know. How do they feel, Joshua? The look on his face.
We call it gibberish.
We'll worry about how they feel when it's
How do you
time to
feel about
move.
moving with your budget?
What, Mom?
We'll see.
Nothing.
It might be the CMA 394.
Yeah, have you seen the Goonies? Oh yeah.
So what's it at?
Where he hasn't seen a lot of movies, we have. We do a ton of
Yeah,
movies.
I've seen the Goonies. I'm not a
Oh,
total
no,
backwater hick.
doesn't show.
I've watched lots of good movies, but you'd be surprised about some of the movies that I haven't seen, like Sound of Music.
Music, yeah.
Have a portable.
Fiddle on the Roof.
No, I haven't seen it. I don't think I want to see it. I think I saw a play of it or something.
I just hope they don't come in.
We have Netflix too, but we watch. I mean, we own a ton of movies.
No, she's not moving to Wyoming. I knew that was going to start, but nope.
No, I'm not moving to Wyoming right now. I still have a house in Idaho. I finally am done with California. All my houses are sold in California. I'm done there for now. So I'm in Idaho. Do I have any interest?
In the same interest as Andrea,
Andrea.
other than Tom. Kind of so, and
I mean,
you
well,
homeschool.
she sewed for the purpose of making clothes and stuff. I sew to do quilts with Rachel, and our quilts are usually donated to like Mexican orphanages and stuff like that. I like to cross stitch. I don't think she did anything like that, embroidery or any of those kind of things.
I think she did when she was younger. I think she
Okay.
did stuff like
We
that.
both do
That's
a
not
lot
bad.
of arts and crafts. We both did from the stuff I helped clean up in her office this last week. I'd say we both did a lot of arts and crafts kind of stuff. So I think we have a lot of similarities there. It looks like she may have done some journaling and stuff, and I love doing Bible journaling, and so in some of those areas we both like to do, keep a day planner and stuff like that. Those kind of things. We both love families, big families.
Alrighty, well, I think I'm going to wrap this up, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we'll do some more of these sometime very soon. I'll get the shopping video up soon. I still have May vlogs to do, June vlogs to do, and I'm going to have July vlogs to do. I'm super behind, but I'm starting to get into a swing of things. It's just in time for her to leave. So, and then I'll...
I know. I asked the boys earlier today and Eden. I said, "You guys do realize that when I leave, you guys have to go back to helping with all of the laundry
Yeah.
and more of the chores." And the eyes got really big, but they're like, "You're coming back soon, right?"
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll see you guys later. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like the video as before you leave. Mine as well. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so you'll know when we have the new weird lives
you
that come
got
out in
me,
the middle of the
honey.
night if you want to get notified. So we appreciate you all, and we'll talk to you guys later.